But you can't be just smart. Sometimes you gotta have a feel. And you gotta be on the right track too. A lot of smart people get sidetracked and they get doing something they don't really care about. Phone, got that, I got my guitar picks. I need 2 guitars. Alright. I've done this hundreds of times, maybe even thousands. So I got it down pretty good. Good evening.
Where's the music?
Well, we're playing at Havana tonight.
Oh, okay.
If you really love something, you do something out of love. Sometimes it pays off. I hope that's the case anyway. So, when I was a little kid, my mom bought me a trumpet because I said I wanted to play trumpet in the school band. So I got this trumpet and I'm trying to get sound. I couldn't get any sound out of it. So we go for the auditions and the music teacher, Mr. Krause, says, well, I'm sorry you can't be in the band because you can't get any sound out of the trumpet. And I came home and I was crying. And my mom said, what's the problem? I said, they won't let me be in the band. That's what I really wanted to do because my friends were all in the band, you know. So she said, get in the car. She drives me down there. Mr. Krause is packing up to go. My mom says, why can't my son be in the band? And Mr. Krause says, well, he couldn't get any sound out of the instrument. Well, my mom goes, can't he do something? And I'm standing there like, you know, next to her. Mr. Krause says, well, maybe he can play bass drum. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I got to play drums in the band. So I got thinking later, just last year, I got thinking, if my mom hadn't told me, get in the car, come down, and we'll talk to Mr. Krause, I probably would have thought that I stunk at music, and I would have never done music ever. And then, as I got into high school, my friends said, we are starting a band and we need some players. So I said, well, I play the drums. And my friend says, well, I'm sorry, we already have a drummer. We need a guitar player. They got me. They said, learn, all we know is 3 songs. Hang On Sloopy, Louie Louie, and Twist and Shout. And they all have the same 3 chords, G, C, and D. So if you learn those 3 chords, we're doing a gig this Friday at Debbie Cirillo's birthday party, and you can be the guitar player. I said, I'm there.
Why don't you do none of the things that they used to to do. Yeah, I'm about to send you back to Trent.
My great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was the governor, and he was sent over by the King of England. That would have been John Redding Sr. And his son, John Redding Jr., was my relative also. He started Princeton University. I think they were Tories, though. My father told me they probably were Tories, and they probably didn't support the revolution because they were too closely tied to the King of England. But yeah, they went back a long way. And my family's been living either in Stockton or Lambertville for the last 250 years. When I was young, we didn't know how lucky we were in Lambertville to have the Lambertville Music Circus. And the Lambertville Music Circus was run by St. John Terrell, which is spelled St. John, like Saint, S-T, John, and that became his name, St. John, S-I-N-J-I-N. And I was friends with his son. So his son was named Bart, and Bart used to get me into all the shows. And Bart got me backstage, and I got backstage. I saw Louis Armstrong back. I was hanging with, can you imagine when you're a kid? I'm this young, like 16-year-old guitar player, and I'm thinking I was cool. Well, how cool was I when I walked out of that thing after hanging with the Lovin' Spoonful backstage, or with Frankie Valli or Ray Charles, and that's where I first met B.B. King. I was never a real sports guy. It's funny, my father was into sports, and I always was mad at him when I was young because he never really taught me how to play baseball. My grandfather was a famous baseball player, and he was drafted to play with the Philadelphia Athletics, and he never went because he had to work for his father. So my father had to work for his father. Anyway, when I wanted to be a musician in the 70s and I wanted to go to New York, he said, go. Never stood in my way. Never stood in my way. And he said, my father stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. And I'm not going to stop you. And I thought that was a great thing. I wanted to be a musician for my life because my father said, go ahead, you can do it. He was very kind to me that way. So I moved to New York. My mom gave me $150, said go. So I get up there, we put my band together, and I was playing with all kinds of people up there. My first gig was with Steve Forbert, and we were playing at the Dugout, which was on Bleecker Street. It's right next to the Bitter End. I was playing down there with him, and I got to play with all kinds of famous people up there. Mike Love, Patti Smith, the Good Rats, Joan Jett, all these punk people. I was up there right during the punk phase. I had my own band, and I was known around the city, the Jeff Kline Band.
I met him in '77 through a Village Voice ad, and he would pull, I don't know how he did it, but he'd get gigs backing up the Drifters or the Coasters. Right. I know we worked with the Crystals, a lot of doo-wop and 50s bands. Right. He would grab gigs. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to do that.
I'm not sure if stardom was the thing he wanted, but he wanted to be a musician and didn't feel like he wanted to do anything else.
When I left Lambertville, before I went to the city, I went to Atlanta because I was looking for a band who needed a guitar player. There was this band, it was like a hair band. So I stay over at the singer's house. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I see is the singer in the bathroom, like combing his hair like a girl, and like blowing it with a hair dryer. And I'm like, this isn't me. This isn't me. I was just hanging with B.B. King. That's me. And you know, neither one of them were me. Right then, I was figuring out what me was.
It was music. I mean, it was just always present in my life and our life as a family in one way or another. Guitars lining the hall, you know, and my dad has always been a performer. It's always been, you know, his third child, I could say, is guitars and or just music in general. The same as he plays now on the bench out front of the coffee shop. He would be playing in the recliner at our house, you know, all day, or on the porch at my childhood home, you know.
When I moved back to Lambertville, people were starting to call me J.B. Kline because that was my great-grandfather's name. That was on our store building. They started calling me J.B. So I said, that sounds like a way better name. So I started to call myself J.B. Kline on stage, right? And it stuck. And it stuck. And that was like 30 years ago. Now when I see it build, like they have Marshall Tucker Band playing underneath that J.B. Kline, it fits. I'm like I'm a blues dude from Chicago or down south or something. I'm not a kid from Lambertville anymore, you know? So JB is a way cooler stage name. But, you know, it really isn't your name, it's how you put out. Yeah! I got to tell you though, B.B. King told me a lot about putting on a show. He was something. Because I did another show when I got my band back together as the J.B. Kline Band in the early 2000s. One of the gigs we got was playing with B.B. King, opening up for B.B. King down at the Trenton War Memorial, which is a big theater down there.
I was so proud, you know, it was just such a cool moment. And I was so happy for him because I knew how much he loves B.B. King and how much he has always looked up to him and been inspired by him.
And so we go on, we do this gig, and we did a pretty good job. Everybody liked us. Then B.B. King comes on.
You just hearing him say, you know, J.B. Kline, wasn't he great, you know, and give a round of applause for him. It just was an amazing feeling for me. So I know it just was that tenfold for my dad.
Anyway, we go up to the Capitol Theater to see B.B. And we watched the show, and he was forgetting the words to his songs, and he was hitting wrong notes and stuff. And after the show, the wheelchair comes out, gets him, takes him back. And I got to go backstage. Went back and I saw BB, and BB's in a wheelchair. And I said, hey man, J.B. Kline here. I go, you probably don't remember me, but I did a show with you a couple years ago at the Trenton War Memorial. He goes, I remember you. He goes, hell, I remember you. You were great. Maybe he did remember me. But anyway, that was nice of him. I said, you were great tonight. And he looked at me like this and he goes, sorry, bro, I remember that like it was yesterday. And he said, I gotta go. So I'm like, see you, man, I'll see you again. He goes, for sure. He goes back to his bus, gets in, and they take off. And a week later he died. Well, the bus crashed into my truck when I was making a pickup for our stationery store.
The car accident that happened in the 90s, that was something that really, I mean, literally and figuratively shook him up.
I got hit by a New Jersey Transit bus, came up in back of my truck and crashed into it. Everything in I had a van, everything in the back of my van came forward and hit me in the head. And it pretty much gave me a bad head injury. And I was injured and coming back for that for about the next 10 years.
It really affected him cognitively as well. So I know that accident had a profound impact on him.
I could still think, although it was foggy. So I went down by the river and I sat on the bench down there and I said a prayer. And my prayer was, what am I going to do? You know, I can't even think straight. I was in a neurologist's office in Trenton, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and sitting next to me is this old lady. So we started having this conversation. I said, you know, if I get this right, I'm going to try to make my life back into something that I'm totally proud of. And she goes, well, aim towards something where you're going to be the most service. Later on, I don't know where she got my address, but she sent me a letter. I got it posted up behind my desk at work. And it said, I remember our conversation that we had at the neurologist's office well. And as far as your life's goals, I hope you do what you really want. And do what you think will be of service in your community. That's what I do. And I read it. Later, I go online and there's all these articles about her. She was like called the Mother Teresa of Trenton. And she was down there. Since she was a little kid, she was helping people on the street. Number one thing you got to do, it came to me, is be of service. How can you be of service best? Well, what do you do well? Music. So I walked back from the river with a new idea about what I was going to do. I took the store and I opened up the music store upstairs, a little bit bigger, and I ordered a whole bunch of guitars.
He is, I would say, equally as passionate about the store and about guitars. I mean, that building has been in our family since 1875. So it really is super important to us.
All right, we're cool with that. How much do you come to? I go to my work at the store at 12 o'clock, so I have time to rest in the morning, you know, if I do a gig.
You know, people are walking around with Kline t-shirts and stickers and all this fun stuff. I think it's kind of making him like a little bit more excited about the shop, and it's like this new chapter. And I got it's definitely another child of his, that store.
He's got a bunch of really good songs, like the Belvedere Line. You know, it's probably 15 years old or more by now. But that album and that song and the storytelling, the way that it rocks, the way the slide imitates the train whistle and the driving beat.
Gonna sing you a song about the Belvedere Line. I can still see that old train rolling by, all about 150 cars at a time, rolling past the station, looking fine. Doing about 60, didn't waste no time. Had to have some respect for that Belvedere Line. Have some respect for that Belvedere Line.
This here is where the doodlebug used to pull up. It used to stop right here. This is called the Belvedere Line right here. The Belvedere Delaware Line. Lambertville was really blue collar back then. People would take the train down to Trenton to work. But back then, it was part of the world around here. The train was a big part of it.
Hear the train coming, the sound like it.
He was always into the blues stuff because I played with him for, I'm going back 35, 40 years now. I mean, I've known Jeff almost 50 years. They do it, you know, what I really like in that band is the harmonies they do. You know, they do a lot of harmonies, and that's really something you don't hear much anymore.
Well, go on and live. Come on, yeah. Go on and live. Tell it like it is. Tell it like it is.
He also does special shows there sometimes where he features artists, which is like really nice. He supports art besides just, you know, being an artist in his own right, musically. You know, he's one of a kind guy. You know, he's, you know, it's almost like he's Lambertville.
You know, we'll walk down the street, and by the time we're done, 12 people stopped him and had a conversation with him or asked him something. And
How you doing? Oh, do you?
Yeah, Joe, been working on it. You had the lesson yesterday. I think I got it.
How you doing, brother?
Good morning, sir. Nice to see you.
Same here.
Love your music.
Thank you.
My dad has a great relationship with the town and the community. He loves Lambertville.
It's my friend Sirion in there. He's an artist. He did all these paintings. Hey, brother.
Hey.
How are you?
yeah, hi.
I saw him slow down from like trying to grab the brass ring as a successful, you know, famous musician. I talked about it one day to him at the shop. And I said, well, Jeff, I said, you know, you're the epitome of a big fish in a little pond. And he says, that's just the way I like it. And I think more than anything else, I think he likes to get out and perform for his people. his crowd, his neighbors.
He just wants so much to be performing and to be playing in front of people and just playing guitar all the time. He has more energy than me half the time, and it's amazing.
It's all about, once he hits the stage, that's his thing.
The thing that it feels like is it feels like I'm in the right place. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
When you look back at the journey that you're on, and you take all the parts, you realize how one works itself into the next, that all add up together to make you what you become.
Now that I'm a little bit older, I'm 74 this year. You know, everyone, when they get a little older, they start to think, well, has my life been successful? And what are you going to do with the rest of your years that you got?
There are two things that I try to do.
Number one, be thankful. Probably the most important thing to do. Now that you are thankful and you're all ready to go and you're hyped up, what do? Well, you got to do something with your body and with your mind. What do you do? Well, you try to be of service, and you try to be of service the best way that you can. And everybody has a different version of that. And if you keep both of those things going, you'll